Hugo Bardin interview. The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon. The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon is a fantastic spin-off that manages to capture the feel of the flagship show's early seasons by injecting new concepts, characters, and locations to The Walking Dead's world. Norman Reedus is excellent as always, but another star of the show is France itself. By exploring Paris and its surrounding towns and leaning into French language and culture, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon takes what could have been seen as a gimmick and makes it a natural evolution and exciting expansion of the franchise. Although The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon's apocalypse flashback gives a glimpse of normal life in Paris before the world fell apart. One of the most interesting aspects of the show is how certain cultural practices and institutions continued on. One example of this is the Demi-Monde, an underground nightclub in which performers like Coca, a drag performer played by real-life Drag Race France winner Hugo Bardin, can be found. Bardin, who performs in the real world under the name Paloma, makes history playing the first drag performer in the Walking Dead universe. Hugo Bardin spoke with Screen Rant about joining The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, bringing drag to the post-apocalypse, and more. Note: this interview was conducted during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. And while this actor are not SAG-AFTRA members, the show covered here would not exist without the labor of the writers and actors in both unions. This interview has also been lightly edited for length and clarity. Hugo Bardin on The Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon. Hugo Bardin. It was really surprising. I knew the show. I haven't seen every season, but I knew the show. One day, Juliette Miniger, a very famous casting director in Paris who works on international productions, called me and said, "Hugo, I have a role for you. You are the only one for the part. Nobody else is involved. Come make a test in English just to see if you can speak," which is not really the case, but I tried. They called me back and said, "You're in the show." On set, I met Norman Reedus, who was just the most kind and human person on earth. He was really excited to see me. He wanted to take a selfie and talk about Drag Race. I was like, "Is it real?" The screenwriter came into my dressing room and I was like, "What's happened? Why am I on the show?" She told me, "Oh, Norman Reedus is a fan of Drag Race. He's a fan of every franchise of Drag Race. He has seen every franchise with his wife, Diane Kruger, and France is one of his favorites. He's a fan of you, so he asked for you to come on the show. The part had been written for me on his demand.